Welcome to the Galicia region of northwest Spain. This is the first in a series of videos that will cover this area, which is known to the boating community as the Rias, or the rivers. Many long, somewhat narrow, jagged waterways reach like fingers far inland from the coastland. These fingers, the Rias, were formed by thousands of years of work by Mother Nature. From water draining out of inland rivers to the abundant rainwater tumbling down the mountain valleys. The tide range is significant here as well, so the ever-flowing volume of water back and forth through these openings also shape this incredible geology. Wonderfully rugged places to tuck in and around are abundant in the Rias, so we wanted to do a special focus on this area. The four southernmost deep cuts into the coastline are called the Rias Baixos, or the Lower Rias, these four here. The area from Finisterre, also called Finisterre, north, is known as the Rias Altas, or the Upper Rias, which include these here. We'll end this year's sailing season in Sada, here. In this video, we'll cover Ria Viga, and a bit of Ria Pontevedra, including some of the offshore islands at the mouths of these two Rias.
Telling jokes to the ocean wind as I stare out at the water.
Hi, I'm Tom.
And I'm Karen.
Welcome to Life 4.0, where we share our adventures of life on board our sailboat as we explore this amazing planet, one anchorage at a time.
This summer, we're crossing much of the Mediterranean, from Greece to Italy, Malta, Spain, including passing out through the Gibraltar Strait, then along the Portuguese coast before we finish in the Galicia area of northwest Spain.
We spend at least half of the year sailing, and the remainder enjoying the beautiful New England region of the United States. Okay, we're underway from Porto, heading up to probably Bayona for tonight, which is across the border into Spain, and entering the Galacia area, so we're excited to start exploring that. A little bit of light wind from behind today. I put up the code 0 while we're motoring just to see if it might help a little bit. I can't really tell if it's well, it's not doing a whole lot, maybe giving us a couple 0.3 of a boat speed improvement. You can see the coastline of Portugal here. Fairly calm today.
This is Ilha del San Martino, one of the national park islands up in the Rias in Spain. And we're coming through an opening here between these two islands. It's a little rough off the coast today, but I mean, it's been so calm lately that it must get crazy rough here. Normally we might not come through this opening in between here, but there's plenty of water, and so we'll just make our way through. This island is also a national park. I forget the name of it, but there's some huge structure on the top there, up near the lighthouse, and there's a lower lighthouse. So this is just entering Ria Viga, one of the main four Rias that are considered the lower, or the Baias Rias in Spain. There's a small little boat over there. They're crazy. I feel a little exposed in here in my larger boat, but they're in a smaller one. And it's only 13 meters deep through here. There's this huge amount of foam. That's crazy. They call this part of Spain, this northern part of Spain, they call it green Spain because it just has a lot more rain, a lot more greenness. And this is a lovely island. We're gonna walk around it tomorrow. We've been underway all day. We'll probably just chill tonight and hang out and then explore these islands tomorrow. We just looked over to where we're wanting to anchor and we realized there's a whole bunch of boats over here. So hopefully we can find a place to get tucked in. Looks like the yellow buoys are marking a place they want you to stay off of for swimming.
Got a super long line ashore for the dinghy because of the tide. We're just be about an hour after low tide, so tide's going to come in. We threw the dinghy anchor out to keep the dinghy in the water, and we needed a really long line to go up to where the top of the tide line is there. So this is really cool. This is the island of Cies. I think that's how you say it, C-I-E-S. One of what they call the Atlantic Islands of Spain, and very different look to it than, even though it's an island like we saw so many islands in Greece, it's a very different look than the Mediterranean. Very green. These trees up here are very different. Maybe some eucalyptus up there and some pine trees. And a beautiful day here. We got a lot of rain last night and it's kind of unsettled weather, I guess you could say, but we caught a little window here of sun. So we're gonna go enjoy the beach and maybe hike a little bit on some of the trails here before more rain is supposed to come later today.
To the ocean wind, as you stare out at the water where our children swim. And I like this canyon and it's carved out space, cliffs like a handshake on the day of the earthquake. And I was born
Wow.
in a messenger. I like where we're going, 'cause we're going far.
Looking at this blank canvas of beach, Tom came up with a fun idea. I executed the plan.
Friends are friends, we drift to them, the beauty we take in. It's forever and never again. It's forever and never again.
We were just about to welcome two sets of dear friends on board, and we wanted to tell them how excited we were and to show them a little bit of what they had to look forward to. This is what transpired, and we shared the image proudly with our friends. Time to see some sights.
We're in the harbor at Bayona, and they have a replica of the Pinta, Christopher Columbus's ship. This is where Christopher Columbus' first landing after he returned from discovering the New World, so to speak, by some.
Here's some information on Christopher Columbus's journey. Then we ventured up to the fortification on the hilltop above Bayona. The walls, buildings, and grounds are well maintained, and it's certainly worth a visit. The views from the high walls give you a good perspective on the harbor and the nearby coastline.
great little sign for the restaurant here, Taverna La Pinta. And it has a light little drizzle going on right now, so if it rains harder, we may end up inside Taverna La Pinta. We're doing a little discovery tour of the Ria Viga and checking out some spots for when our friends Rhonda and Eric arrive in a few days. So doing a little flyby on a couple of these beaches, check them out. Got a bunch of mussel farm kind of rafts behind me there, over there. And it's a beautiful day. It's so nice to have some full sun coming out after the rain that we've had the last 3 or 4 days. But you take the good with the bad, and we got some more rain coming, so we're going to take advantage of the sun today and get out, sightsee, and then pick one of these beaches to stop at for tonight. That point of land, when you go around kind of the backside of it, goes up the Rio Pontevedra, the next Ria of the Spanish Rias. We're headed over this little beach up ahead. No boats there at the moment. And we're going to check that out. Ensenada de Barra. And I get the feeling these beaches are pretty popular in the main part of summer and also popular on the weekends. Right now it's mostly fishing boats, small fishing boats out doing their thing. Great view of the offline islands out there as well. Get a good view of all these rafts. These are mussel farms, and apparently they're all throughout the Rias. They're well marked boxes on the chart, so you can see where they're permitted to install these mussel farms. They're called viveros in Spanish, and in the cruising guide they kept referring to viveros. Have to watch out for viveros. You know, don't go in between viveros kind of thing. And we're like, what is a viveros? Finally we realized it's these mussel farms. So this is just one example of many. You can see more in the distance over here on the other side of our course. You can go inside, like we're going inside from the shore here and this mussel farm here. So, and that's the way it's marked on the chart, is there space in between. And some people say that they actually help with kind of moderating the seas. If there's swells or wind or waves coming into an anchorage, they can kind of settle down the sea state a bit. So that's nice. Interesting to try to figure out what this guy's doing. He's rowing like a workboat, and it has an engine already on it, so interesting.
Pretty day on Ons Island. We just blew up our paddle boards, took a trip into shore. Now we are sailing at a very slow speed, but sailing nonetheless, back toward Ria Viga, where we're going to meet our friends in a few days. Tomorrow, actually. So yeah, we're only going 1.8 knots, but we only have 5 knots of speed. So hopefully a little bit of wind will kick in here. We'll get to go a little faster.
Wind is coming.
Wind is coming.
It's just so incredible how green the landscape is here. It's very clear that we're getting into more of a northern climate. A lot more vegetation, a lot more rain to keep things growing compared to such arid geography out in Greece. It's interesting because one of the sailing couples that we followed in the past came through here several years ago, and they said it was rather bleak. And I can kind of get that if it's gray and rain on many days. But we're seeing a lot of beauty as well, and I wouldn't want to sort of cast with a wide brush strokes the viability of Ria Viga And certainly the other Rias look really cool too. So we're gonna find some gems in here. We've already found the harbor and the town of Bayona was great. So we really enjoyed that. And we're looking forward to seeing a lot more sights. So, you know, it's kind of shows you that it sort of depends on the situation when you arrive, the weather, maybe how tired you are, what you've been through to get here. We were pretty tired when we got up the coast all the way up from Lisbon. It was 4 long days to get up here. And we were a little bit anxious once we got here to get settled, but once we got settled, we found the beaches and the scenery just tremendous, and the hiking ashore. We're looking forward to doing more hikes. They've done some great job at putting together hiking trails. I kind of wonder if that's a little bit of the influence of the community Santiago, which comes in Santa Capistello, I think it is, to that village where it ends, and it's just, I don't know, it looks like it's just beyond the mountain peaks over here. So we've seen several hikers around here that are carrying the distinctive shell hanging off their backpack, which is an indication that they're a pilgrim on one of the treks on the Camino. And so that's great to see, and that might be reinforcing the popularity of hiking trails all through here, because it's definitely the case. On our driving tour of Ria Viga, we're now at Ensenada de Lemons. Sort of sounds like it means lemons, but nice spot here too. Couple beaches, well marked with the yellow buoys to know we can't go any further in than that, and they have these great red and green buoys that give you a clear indication of where you can take your dinghy ashore or paddleboard or whatever. So I love that. You don't have to guess or know or wonder if anybody's gonna get pissed off at you landing a dinghy on the beach. So I feel really fortunate we're able to be here when there's like no boats. It's later in the season and it's a weekday, so nice little village going up the side up there. So this is another great option to come and anchor in Ria Viga. Ensenada de Lemons. All right, we have taken the beach at Ensenada de Barra using our paddleboards. Sun's almost down, and there's a little bit of artwork here. People have a lot of time in their hands at the beach, apparently. Indication of how fishing is the main thing here. We got all this refrigeration, warehouses, trucks coming along, and looks like they're holding a lot of seafood behind those walls. There's a lot of mussel farms in the Ria here, so they could be also storing mussels, mussel meat. So. Yeah, and it goes deeper in off the water there. We're up at the top of this headland looking out over Ria Viga and the islands in the distance. We're right above the marina we're staying at, and it's got a nice little church here and a tower up at the top. Really beautiful and peaceful up here as we're giving our friends Eric and Rhonda kind of an introduction to their week on board. This is certainly a good start. We'll head out tomorrow morning. Up and up the stairs we go. Hola, amigos.
Rhonda and Eric settled easily into boat life as we headed back to these slightly offshore islands to do some hiking.
Just landed at Il de Faro, brought the dinghy into the beach. Got it tied way up there above the high tide line. And a dinghy anchor, and we'll see how we do. Love these tall stands of eucalyptus, and there's some pine, I think, mixed in there, mostly eucalyptus. Reminds me a lot of California foothills in San Francisco, and also some of the terrain where I grew up in San Diego. Very beautiful. And these walking trails are awesome. I didn't expect them to be paved and so wide. And you come out to a great vista like this. That must have been the beach I talked about where there's like a narrow spot to pull it up enough out of the high tide. This is something about how there was just like a little sliver of sand that you could still use.
Right.
It's forever and never again. I like this coastline and its fragrant flowers and the offshore swell.
We climb higher and higher, and the views only improve.
And I like the strong winds that rock us close. Whole world around us changing like two smiling shadows. And I was born.
You can see the clouds just forming right at this height and blowing past and down into the valley down there. All of a sudden, we're in the cloud layer. Up here, top of the lighthouse, and this is very cool views. Just looking down, way down there to the water, and all the lichen on the rocks.
If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notified of new videos. Join us next time as we continue our series on the Rias. We'll cover much more of Ria Pontevedra, and then we'll move on to Ria de Arousa. Thanks for watching.